everyone, welcome to Morning Matcha. Today I'm here with Kerrigan. She's the co-founder of Sagely Naturals, which is a CBD wellness company. Hi.
So excited to be here.
So excited to have you. I'm really looking forward to hearing about Sagely Naturals and also how you met your partner.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Kaylee,
yeah. How did you guys meet and how did everything get started? What sparked your coming together?
So Kaylee and I have a mutual friend who introduced us after he realized that we had both followed the same career path. So Kaylee worked at JP Morgan in investment banking, and I worked in hedge fund financing at UBS. So we both worked for investment banks straight out of college and for, the early parts of our careers. And then we each left at the same time and went to the restaurant industry. So Kaylee was director of operations for a fast casual restaurant chain, and she helped to grow them from when they were just one restaurant until they were close to 20.
Wow.
And then I worked in brand management for Wolfgang Puck and for Taco Bell while I was in business school. So
how did you go into brand management after finance?
I just was lucky enough to convince them to take me on as, an intern, and I had always been really passionate about food and had cooked my whole life. And the role that I had at UBS was a little bit of a sales and marketing role. So
it
wasn't a huge departure. But also just the fact that I was going to business school gave me an opportunity to say, I want to be a career changer.
Yeah.
Like, give me a chance.
Yeah.
So when we met, I was just finishing business school, and I had actually written a couple of business plans for food concepts.
Cool.
And then, so we were kind of looking like, how could we get one of these off the ground, when I had my first experience using CBD, and it was so life-changing that I went to Kaylee and I basically said, like, we have to forget the food. We need to start a CBD company.
Oh my gosh. So when did you first start using CBD?
So it was in 2015. So 4 years ago now.
A while ago.
Yeah. I had heard about it from a friend who had been using it to deal with chronic pain. And when she heard that I was also unfortunately dealing with this lower back pain that wouldn't seem to go away, she recommended that I try it. And I saw it on a friend's kitchen counter. It was in the form of a honey. And I made myself a cup of hot water, and I just dissolved the honey into the water. And half an hour after I had some, I just was seeing the world through rose-colored glasses.
Wow.
It was like my lower back was feeling better. I was feeling more calm. It was really a powerful moment, and it took me so long to get to that moment. I was telling you before, I had seen 14 different doctors over the course of a couple of years, and orthopedic surgeons and chiropractors, and they were giving me things like Vicodin and Advil, and I basically gave myself an ulcer with how much Advil I was taking.
Oh my gosh. So you were taking what they were prescribing?
Yeah. I mean,
the
Vicodin I didn't take often because I knew about the side effects, and it actually didn't even really make me feel good.
Mm-hmm. I know I've taken it once before, and it makes me feel nauseous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives me bad dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like that. But that's how I ended up getting in trouble with Advil, because I was taking it really regularly, and it ended up, being really harsh on my stomach. And so
wow.
CBD, the first time I tried it, I was like, where have you been all these years? I need you in my life. And that's sort of where the idea was sparked.
Did you have any preconceived ideas about CBD that prevented you from trying it before, or even that it's like some people are like, oh, they think it's bad because of the whole, because it comes from hemp or cannabis.
Yeah.
But then other people, I feel like, because we use marijuana, I think some people just think it just doesn't work. So I'm
Interesting.
curious, if you had any of those thoughts and what you've heard.
I mean, 4 years ago, I didn't know very much about it. I knew from my friend that it was from the cannabis plant. I knew that it could come from marijuana or from hemp. And I knew that CBD in itself was not psychoactive. So like that first time that I tried it, it's like I wasn't high. And so that was all very compelling to me. The reason why I hadn't used it before was because I just had no access to it. So like 4 years ago, California was, medically legal for marijuana, but not recreationally. So you had to get your prescription.
That's true. Yeah.
And
wow, we've come such a long way.
Yeah, it seems so normal now, but like 4 years ago, I had to go to like a weed doctor and explain about my lower back, and they had to write me a prescription. And then I went to a dispensary for the first time, and it was not a pleasant experience at all. Like there were products with CBD. They were from marijuana. They were not from hemp. They all contained a lot of THC, which, as you know, is the psychoactive component. So there was no way to access CBD without the high, even though in itself it actually causes no high. So that made no sense to me. And then the brands were all for stoners. Like,
yeah, the branding was
horrible. Then the ingredients were not natural, and then there was no transparency around the ingredients. So that's really where the start of Sagely Naturals came from, was this idea that if you want to access CBD, you should be able to do that with an approachable brand that uses high quality and natural ingredients. And by the way, that doesn't contain THC, because in this research that we did, we found out that over 80% of people actually don't like getting high. And that was research conducted in California. So
wow,
I would have thought that it would be actually lower than that. Like, I assume more people smoke than actually do, according to the research. So, approachability, high quality natural ingredients, and then no THC. Those were sort of like the foundational building blocks of the brand.
But at the time when you had gone, so you were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's life-changing because of my chronic lower back pain. Nothing has helped me. This has no side effects, basically. But you took it to your partner, but it was still at a time when it was regulated, right?
Yeah. So
were you able to see past that like at some point it won't be regulated, and this is a great industry for us to be in because obviously you're at this point super passionate about it?
Yes, it was a huge gamble. It was legal because of the Farm Bill. So in 2014, so actually not even that long before we started the business, Congress did say hemp is an agricultural product. We shouldn't treat it differently from, paper or corn or anything else. But unfortunately, the way that they wrote the law, it had still some gray area. So we were taking a risk, because while we were able, once we got the brand launched, to sell in, for example, like independently owned natural food stores, like, Erewhon.
Oh, cool.
Most larger chains were looking at the law and they were saying, this is still not black and white enough for us.
Yeah, they couldn't take the risk, which is amazing that smaller stores were willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
So you knew that you would. So where do you sell Sagely Naturals?
So currently we're sold in natural food stores, and then places like Neiman Marcus.
Wow.
They were actually the first prestige retailer in the country to launch CBD products, and we were one of just a small handful of brands. So you
That's
can actually
amazing.
find it at their Fashion Island location. And then what's really exciting is that, like, by the time this is published, you'll be able to find our products in some mass retailers across the country as well.
Amazing. Are you allowed to say who? Sephora?
I can't yet because their corporate communications teams haven't given us the go ahead, but
it'll be there.
It'll be there.
Can people go online and buy it?
Definitely.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Directly from you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. sagelynaturals.com has been from day one of our, priority channels. We're also available on Neiman Marcus's website and then Thrive Market as well.
Yeah, I know Thrive. Cool. Okay, so let's go back to, I find this super interesting because at one point we did an event with a CBD company and we got in trouble and Shopify shut us down. And we promoted the event, but we were taking payment so it was like a paid event to come to. And we promoted the brand. So we weren't selling CBD, but Shopify wouldn't. So Shopify just decided we don't want anything to do with you guys and shut us down until I found a different processor.
Yeah.
But I still don't even know if my processor would allow me to.
It probably wouldn't.
Yeah. So I'm curious how you navigated that.
It's still such a headache. And I think what a lot of people who are now coming onto the market with CBD brands, they're thinking, Congress passed a new version of the Farm Bill just in December. It's black and white legal now. Great. Now it's my time to launch CBD. And they have no idea that there's still so much on the back end that's a struggle. And that's a great example.
Yeah.
We've gone through, I can't even count the number of processors, just to be able to take someone's credit card on our website. And it's been really touch and go at times where we're, allowed to sell our products one day and then they decide literally the next day that they don't want to sell CBD anymore. And so we're scrambling, if we can't find another processor that's willing to take us on, our website's basically just done because it's great as an educational tool, but obviously we want to also be able to sell our products on the site. So credit card processing has been really a challenge. And then advertising. So
paid social media, you can't do that.
Can't. So Facebook, Instagram, Google, they do not allow us to advertise. So I can have a Facebook page, I can have an Instagram account, and we're very active on, our social media channels, but I can't boost a post or pay for an advertisement.
That's so interesting. I'm curious if they allow prescription or pharmaceutical companies to advertise.
Yeah, they do.
Oh my gosh. Because obviously on TV you get ads all the time.
Yeah.
But that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're still behind in a lot of ways, but obviously it's amazing how many people know about CBD now and how life-changing it is for a lot of people. Yeah, so it's just really interesting that you associate a brand that out of habit, like we were talking about, or you grow up with a brand like Crest or Colgate for toothpaste, or what's the deodorant that people would wear, the red one that guys would wear that we grew up with, those commercials.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's Axe, but not, I don't know if Axe is deodorant.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't even get into that.
I can smell it. I just can't remember the name.
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, that was my favorite commercial. This woman getting into the elevator. The branding is so incredible what these companies have come up with.
Yeah.
This lady getting into an elevator and just smelling a stranger from bottom up and just being hi.
Exactly. Now I'm going to sleep with you because you smell good.
Yeah, totally. But I just think it's really great that our generation is starting to see things differently and take inventory of what we have in our medicine cabinets, like you said, and why are we actually using these brands? It's because we grew up with commercials and we just did what other people did, or they were just at the convenience store.
That's what our parents gave us.
Yeah.
And I don't see my parents going through the same process.
Yeah.
They are still pretty comfortable just popping an Advil or taking a Vicodin if their doctor tells them to. And so I think starts with us.
Yeah.
And then we help to educate our parents and say, I know you've used Neutrogena or Lubriderm your whole life, but there are these things called parabens and sulfates and synthetic fragrances, and
they've been proven over many studies to be cancerous. I mean, many things, obviously.
Or like disrupt your hormones, or even if
endocrine disruptor. Yeah,
exactly.
So many things bring you brain fog. I mean, things that don't make life pleasant, even if they're not like chronic.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize, at least yet, that can have as much of an impact on your health as what you eat. Like people, I think, really understand now, even if they don't buy into eating organic, they understand why someone would buy organic, and they just make the choice either because it's too expensive or because they think it just, for them, isn't a priority, that they're not going to buy organic. But what I'm noticing for, like, in particular skincare, is that people are starting to understand your skin is actually your largest organ, and you do absorb what goes on your skin into your bloodstream. And so we should be like keeping an eye out on what we put on our skin the same way we do for what we put inside of our body.
Yeah, it's amazing. So she was going through that and kind of jumped on the bandwagon then.
Yes.
And was like, let's do it. But when you decide let's do it for any company, obviously there's a lot of time before you can launch, but this type of company in particular, I mean, that's a really big thing. Do you launch with just one product? Do you have multiple products? Are they ingestibles? Are they just topical? Like, what made you want to go into skincare? Because you started with CBD honey. I mean, you did an ingestible. So how did you guys go from where you were to launching the products you did?
Well, I was very fortunate in that, having just graduated from UCLA Anderson, my brand management professor there was able to get us access to some grant money to do some consumer insights work. So,
wow.
Yeah, because we actually started the business with our own savings. And so we did not have money to do that. So that was really critical. And what we learned through this research was like how people feel about cannabis, what might make them nervous about it. So for example, we learned that, like I said before, 80% of people don't like getting high, but 75% of people already believe that there are medicinal benefits to the cannabis plant. So for us, the key in creating a brand was the final insight that was essentially people are willing to try cannabis if you can assure them that they don't have to get high. So that piece became really integral to the brand. Like, how do we make people feel like this is not a joint? This is not something that they would find at a dispensary, because they're not going to be willing to try it if it is. And that's really what steered us towards the idea of launching with a lotion to start, because everyone uses, body lotion, and it's a very familiar product. Like, it's on every medicine cabinet in America. And it's also not something that you would expect to find cannabis in. So, to convince people that this is like a familiar product that you would be willing to try, even though you've never heard of this ingredient called CBD, we decided to launch with our relief and recovery cream. So it took us about 6 months to come up with the formulation that we were happy with. To your question before, we actually thought we would launch with a lot more products. We had a lot of ideas for products, but we had a really great advisor basically tell us, like, you guys should just focus, try to do it with one, see if it goes well. If it goes well, you can always expand later. And that was great advice, because there was already enough work to do with even just that one product.
Yeah, I mean, educating people on it, but it's a really great idea to start with topical for sure.
Yeah,
because you also associate, or people associate getting high with an ingestible.
Exactly.
So that is people who don't correlate put what you put on your skin with how it makes you feel. That's kind of a good way to start.
Exactly. And then what we ended up hearing from our customers who were using the Relief and Recovery Cream was that they were comfortable. It wasn't as big of a leap as we thought it would be. Once they learned about CBD for the first time, they weren't nervous about it. Like there wasn't a stigma, and we thought that there might be, but they wanted a supplement. They wanted something that they could just add to their vitamin routine. And so while we initially thought like, okay, well, we'll be a skincare, cosmetics brand, it became obvious that people like wanted that from us so that they could take CBD orally. So then our second product was our Relief and Recovery capsules, which contain CBD and turmeric. And that's actually to this day still one of our best-selling products.
Wow, that's amazing. And there's a lot that goes into doing, creating an ingestible product for sure, especially CBD.
Yes, it's really tricky working with manufacturers because they're not familiar with CBD, and CBD can come in many forms. We use a full spectrum oil that comes from hemp, and a lot of companies, particularly that are making topicals, are using an isolate because it's so much easier to just mix into the lotion. When you use an oil, it's thick, it's green, it literally sticks to the machinery. So we've had to go through so many processes with our manufacturers to ensure that it's incorporating properly, that, there's exactly as much CBD as we say there is. So I think for like a lot of the brands that are just getting started, it is like with the credit card processing, it's a lot harder than it looks to work with the ingredient.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure people who are actually making the product, the manufacturers, they're probably not wanting their actual machinery to be affected. I don't know if it's like affecting their machinery because of how sticky it is.
I think that hasn't been the concern as much as just like, oh, is the FDA going to
come shut me down?
Yeah, exactly.
So then you guys, within 6 months, that's really quick. Within
so
6
funny.
months to launch the topical.
Yeah. I mean, it actually was closer to 9 months if you also take into account like the time it took us to form the company. And, but yeah, I mean, in retrospect, I understand now that is really quick, but at the time it felt like it took forever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you have something that you're sitting on and you just want people to enjoy it, especially if it changed your own life.
Exactly.
And also it's an industry that's growing and you want to be at the forefront of it. So I'm sure it felt like forever, but yeah, that's super impressive.
Well, now we have a much bigger team, and when we try to set deadlines, now we're getting pushed back. It's like, wait, you can't launch a product in 6 months. And Kaylee and I are like, but we did it.
Yeah, exactly. I think when you're hustling, you can do anything really. But then, as the bigger you get, the longer everything takes, I guess.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. So how many products do you guys have now?
So we have, by the time this is on air, we'll have 13 products.
Wow. Do people use the products together?
Yes.
And can you overdose on CBD?
No, you actually can't.
Wow.
Yeah.
And people use them every day. Like, do you recommend taking a break from CBD ever?
I actually don't, because CBD works like a vitamin. So we have a system in our bodies that's called the endocannabinoid system, and it helps to regulate mood, our digestive system, our central nervous system. It helps to keep our bodies in balance. And oftentimes the body can just become deficient in cannabinoids. And so cannabis is actually not the only place where you can find cannabinoids. You can find it in plants like broccoli and kale.
I know. I saw a video of you saying that.
Yeah.
Why aren't people getting it from there? Is it
It's
just
not as
strong?
abundant.
Oh, okay.
So it's most abundant in hemp. And that's why we I mean, apart from legality, that's also why we source from hemp, is because in the plants that we extract from, it's a high concentration of CBD.
So we're taking in cannabinoids.
Cannabinoids.
Like when we eat our vegetables.
Some of them, but not enough to get your body back into balance. And so you were asking if you should take a break, and actually it's the opposite. CBD should be consumed regularly, like a vitamin, because once it takes the amount of time to build up in your system, you want it to then be at that like right level. And so I think of it just like any other supplement.
Wow. And like if someone were to take a drug test, does it show up as?
Yeah. What most drug tests are looking for is THC.
Oh,
and
I see.
because our products actually contain 0% THC, we are mostly confident that you would not fail a drug test, but we also can't say 100% guaranteed you're not going to fail a drug test, because of course there are, very sophisticated tests that could measure CBD in your blood. It's just that the average drug test is not going to be looking for CBD.
Yeah. And it's totally safe for pregnant and breastfeeding or nursing moms, or
That
I don't
one's
know
a
if you
little
can
more
say
tricky. We just don't know enough yet. There has now been one pharmaceutical drug that's been approved in the US by the FDA that is a CBD-based drug. And it was actually tested on children with a really rare form of epilepsy. And even in high doses, it was not harmful. But that's really not the same thing as, saying that it's safe in kids is not the same thing as saying it's safe in utero. And I always default to like, you should talk to your doctor. But then the unfortunate thing is most doctors don't really know either. So I usually just tell people it's probably better not to take it until we know more. But, being in my early 30s with all of my friends, with their first kid or being pregnant, it's a question that I get a lot. And I'm always so sad not to have more information to be able to answer it more accurately.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are a lot of people that I do know that take it, and they swear by it because of a lot of issues that some people get during pregnancy, or a lot of lower back pain, all sorts of things that happen.
And like anxiety doesn't necessarily go away when you're pregnant. And so I think that's like where the conversation with the doctor comes in. It's like, is it better for me to take CBD, or is it better for me to take a Xanax? And they may actually, I don't know, they may say don't take either, but
they may say one. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I can't wait for the day where there are more people testing things like CBD, even adaptogens, all sorts of herbs that are off limits because there just hasn't been enough research.
Yeah.
And people are using them now. They weren't using them then. So now there's just a huge need for more studies, I guess. So
totally. And now that the new version of the Farm Bill passed in December, the good news is that there will be a lot more research done on CBD. And we welcome that because we're a science-backed organization, and it's always frustrating not to be able to point to specific clinicals. So like, we are very excited about more research being done on the plant.
Okay. So by the time this is out, you're going to be in stores nationwide.
Yes.
And abroad too, or the laws are?
No, there are a lot of countries in the world that are selling CBD, but we just have our hands full right now with everything going on, even in the US. So we're focused on the US for now.
That's amazing. That's going to be, it's going to be life-changing for so many people to just have access to it.
That was our goal when we started the business, was to allow people to do more of what they love. And change people's lives for the better. And it's like access is so key. So the fact that there are now going to be some, retailers across the country that are carrying it is a huge deal.
What are those retailers also carrying other CBD products?
Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that Sagely you think stands out? Why someone would go for Sagely over the other ones?
Well, it may or may not surprise you that none of the other brands are focused on women.
Oh, really?
There are other brands that have topical products and that have supplements, but they're very generic, like for just anyone and everyone that wants to use CBD. We have customers that are men. It's definitely the majority of our customers are women, and we never wanted to turn men off from using our products. But with that said, there weren't any brands, and there still are very few brands that are focused on women's needs. So women disproportionately deal with pain, they deal with stress, they deal with trouble sleeping more than men do. And those are actually also the top 3 reasons why people use CBD. So it seemed very obvious to us that we should look to serve women and their needs when we launched the brand. And to this day, I think the brand still feels more approachable, more like a product that you would feel proud to put in your medicine cabinet than some of these other brands.
And it's most likely more clean. Or I wouldn't say, I don't know the other products, but obviously that's something you have taken into account.
Yeah. The emphasis at Sagely Naturals has always been to use or make products that are free from parabens, free from sulfates, free from synthetic fragrances and dyes. And that's, a company like pillar is that our products are using honest ingredients.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, what can we look forward to? I feel like there's so much, obviously the nationwide launch. But do you guys do events? Like what other things can we learn more about Sagely and just learn more about, how can we learn more about CBD from you guys in general?
We put so much emphasis on education as a brand. Going to our website where we have a blog is amazing information as far as all of the questions you might have. I'm sometimes surprised, although less now than I was before, by what people want to know. For example, someone asked recently, and then we ended up finding out that more and more people were asking, is CBD going to make me gain weight?
Interesting.
And it was something that I had never thought about before. And then when I started thinking about it more, I was like, oh no, this makes complete sense because people associate cannabis with the munchies. Mm-hmm. And then if you get the munchies, you're going to eat more and then you're going to gain weight. So thinking about it from that perspective, it's like, oh yeah, this is an important question to answer.
Yeah.
The answer is no, it will not make you gain weight because it does not interact with your brain the same way that THC does, which means it does not stimulate your appetite. So it does not make you more hungry. It does not give you the munchies. But yeah, information like that is available on our blog. And then I think just what's most exciting is that we, by the time this is on, we'll have just launched 2 new product collections. So one is extra strength version of our top 2 selling products, which is the Relief and Recovery Cream and those CBD and turmeric capsules that I was talking about.
So more CBD.
More CBD.
Wow.
So 2 to 5 times the CBD in those products. And then on April 10th, we are launching the Dreamwell collection, which is for, a beautiful nighttime, bedtime ritual.
That's nice.
So there's going to be a Dreamwell body oil, an essential oil roll-on, and then...
oh my gosh. No one's doing essential oils, I don't think, right? CBD's essential oils.
No.
That's awesome. That's smart.
One of our more unique, the Relief and Recovery roll-on is right here.
And what else? Sorry, I interrupted you.
The last product is a dietary supplement, which will contain melatonin and CBD. So
wow.
helping you get a better night's sleep.
That's amazing. Does it act as an adaptogen in some aspects?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, we call it the Girl Scout molecule because it knows what your body needs, just in the
amazing.
same way that an adaptogen does.
Yeah. Wow. So it helps with, it not only acts as an adaptogen, but then it also helps regulate your or raise your endocannabinoid.
It helps to
levels.
regulate your endocannabinoid system.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I'm really looking forward to learning more just on your site too. I think as more information comes out, it's just nice to like have someone to go to that's regulating it and kind of explaining what we can decipher from all the studies. I think it's really hard a lot of times to read studies in general and just understand what that means, or even when new laws come out. I don't know if you guys like go over them, but it's nice to know what's going on and have a resource for it. So I'm excited to have somewhere to actually go that I trust.
Yeah, and we're always happy to answer questions. As I just said, we read every email that comes in. I still read a lot of the emails that come in personally because I want to understand what are the things people are thinking about that we haven't addressed yet.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was so nice to meet you. I'm really excited for Sagely.
Same. Thanks.